Welcome to our penultimate session of the Bible and Introduction. I'm sure that over the years you have enjoyed a good soap opera. We can almost picture ourselves or others we know in the soap opera storylines. In this session, we will look at the Bible as a soap opera, as God uses broken and messy people to tell the story. It may not seem like a huge number, but over a quarter of the British population say that they watch soap operas. These programmes tend to be popular because they show real-ish life experiences. Have you ever watched an episode of a soap and recognised yourself or a friend in the storyline? Within the 66 books of the Bible, we can also do the same. We can find ourselves in the pages, in the stories Jesus tells, or the letters of the New Testament. The Bible tells the real history of real people, and even though it was written such a long time ago, we can still see similar situations within it, because God is not afraid to use real people, just like you and me. God has used me and still uses me, even though I am not fit, healthy but not fit, so please don't ask me to run. I have psoriasis, and at times it looks like it has been snowing on my shoulders. My eyesight is getting worse to the degree I now wear varifocals. I forget sometimes sorry, I've forgotten. I know I can wind people up without meaning to, and sometimes I forget to talk to God. I could add more, and others I'm sure could too. But God still uses me. Look in a mirror. What do you see? We often look at ourselves and give a whole litany of faults, but never praises. But God doesn't. He looks at us and sees how perfect we are. So look in the mirror now. Look at the person God loves. Try to see yourself as He sees you. The Bible is full of heroes, and our film industry depicts heroes as perfect examples of human beings. They have chiselled chins, stern looks, bulging muscles. Even when they are flawed human beings, they have evolved superhuman powers. What do you think of when you picture a hero? So, what do you think of when you picture a hero? Do you picture a cape-wearing hero? Or one such as Sir Captain Tom Moore? Our emergency responders? Our nurses and doctors? Our volunteer community litter pickers of all ages? Who did you choose? All of these people will not be chosen as a film hero, but each in their own way are superheroes. They are ordinary people who do extraordinary things. They are just like you and me. In the Bible, we see the same response from God. He doesn't choose those who classically fit the bill of hero as depicted by Hollywood. He picks the ordinary and makes them extraordinary, just like the previous pictures. The website Bible.org reports that the resumes of the 12 disciples that Jesus chose in the New Testament would be very telling. In fact, they go on to say that Judas Iscariot, the disciple who betrayed Jesus, is a man of ability and resourcefulness, who meets people well and has a keen business mind, with contacts in high places. He is highly motivated, ambitious, and responsible. Of the other 12, it says Simon Peter is emotionally unstable and given to fits of temper. Andrew has absolutely no qualities of leadership. The two brothers, James and John, place personal interests above loyalty. Thomas demonstrates a questioning attitude that would tend to undermine morale. Matthew has been blacklisted. James and Thaddeus definitely have radical leanings, and both registered a high score on the manic-depressive scale. But still, God chose all of them to be Jesus' closest friends and companions, to go out into the world and share the good news. Let's look at some of the other heroes, the people God chose for special tasks in the Bible. There's many we could focus on, but today we'll just look at Moses, Gideon, Esther, Jonah, St. Mary Magdalene and St. Paul. As I said, these are only a small few, and there are many more we could look at. Let's look at some of the Old Testament hero figures. Moses, abandoned as a child, impulsive murderer, ran away, short-tempered, easily irritated. Yet still God chose him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt and into the wilderness, spending 40 years there before finally arriving at the Promised Land. Gideon, who in his own words said he was the weakest and the least in his father's house. He also doubted God at first, but yet was still given the courage and the strength to lead an army to protect God's people. And this army won the battle against even greater numbers. Then we have Esther, who was an orphan and a Jew, but yet became queen. Despite being a woman and a Jew, she took her life into her own hands in faith that God would look after her, and spoke to the king without being summoned to him, which was a very dangerous thing to do. She succeeded in protecting the Jews from being massacred. And then Jonah. Jonah, who is a great man, but who ignores God and runs away from him. In short, turning his back on him, on God. God doesn't give up on him though, even though it looks like Jonah has given up on God. And God gives him a second chance to deliver a message to the people of Nineveh. However, on delivering his message, we get to see a sulky and vengeful side of Jonah. Despite all this, Jonah delivers the message and saves the people of Nineveh, and without meaning to, he shares the power and love of God also with the sailors when he first ran away. And now to just two of the New Testament heroes that God chose. First, Paul, who started his early life standing by and watching other Christians be killed. He was a Pharisee and took it as his personal duty to search out and persecute other Christians. This involved inciting others to persecute them too. He disbelieved in the truth of the resurrection and in Jesus as the Son of God. Yet still God singled him out and chose him to spread the message of the good news of the resurrection and establish many other church communities and write letters, which we still use today and that support and encourage us in our faith. And Mary Magdalene, who was a woman in a male-dominated society. We first met her in the Gospels as a demon-possessed woman. At the resurrection, she allowed herself to be clouded in disbelief, fear and grief, and was confused. Throughout the early Christian church, and until fairly recently, she has also been misrepresented. However, it was Mary Magdalene that was chosen to be one of the first witnesses to the resurrection and speak to Jesus. And it was her who first took the message to the other apostles and disciples. This has led the church to give her the title Apostle to the Apostles. These few people, taken from the Old and New Testament, are just a small example of those who God has chosen to spread his word and message. They were messed up and broken. We can find many more in the Bible who were not eloquent, whose position in life was not ideal, who had made wrong choices, followed their own paths, hid or ran from God, and ignored him. Yet God still chose them to be witnesses, to share the message, to lead others. They may have lacked the necessary gifts and talents, but God still chose them to continue his story and gave them what they needed, when they needed it. We may feel that we have no role to play in God's story. However, I hope that you have started to see that in the heroes of the Bible, we can see something of ourselves in their unreadiness and unpreparedness. Ask yourself who your hero is in the Bible. What can you learn from them and imitate them, remembering Paul's words, "Imitate me as I imitate Christ." It doesn't matter who we are, God still chooses us to spread his word by our actions, words, and deeds. He wants all of us to continue to tell and live the story and to do our bit to spread the good news. In this session, we have had a whistle-stop tour and explored how God chooses people to continue his story, regardless as to how messed up and broken they are. We have also briefly looked at how we fit in with the continuation of God's story that starts in the Old Testament and continues into the New. I hope that you have enjoyed these sessions so far. Next week, join us as we try and make sense of the different translations of the Bible. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, then please post them. And if you want to explore further, get in touch and we will do our best to direct you.